Calgary Police Service District 1 and the drug unit have completed a 5-week operation resulting in 190 charges. Operation Wonderland began on March 25, 2014 and continued through April 2014 to target street-level drug traffickers in specific areas of the downtown core identified by District 1 members and the community. During the operation, officers obtained 34.6 grams of marijuana, 14.4 grams of crack cocaine, 3.5 grams of powder cocaine, and 2.1 grams of methamphetamine. In total, 23 people were charged with a total of 86 Controlled Drugs and Substances Act charges. Warrants have been issued for an additional 12 people in connection with this operation. The Calgary Police Service continues to urge citizens to contact police with concerns specific to their communities. Concerns can be noted by officers at district offices or by calling the non-emergency number at 403-266-1234.
Can you just talk about, it's a 5-week operation, 190 charges. Can you just talk about kind of the origins of the investigation, how it all started and how you got to this point?
I can certainly let Inspector O'Brien tell you about the origins of the operation. I can speak specifically to the drug angle aspect of it if you wish. Sound good?
What we discovered in District 1 is at the beginning of this year, we received quite a few community members that were talking to us about what they were seeing out in their community downtown, which was dealing going on. They're trying to get to work, they're trying to get home, and they're walking by people that are dealing drugs. As well, what we saw at the same time is we saw an escalation in violence within the district, and we knew that a lot of that violence was directly related to drug trafficking. There is a perception out there that when it's marijuana or it's just a small quantity of drugs, that what's the big deal? Well, the reality is that people have to walk by those people. People have to walk by and see this every day, which is unacceptable. And the other thing is that there is violence associated with drug trafficking, and that is not a coincidence that we saw an escalation in violence at the same time that we were seeing this escalation in drug trafficking going on within the district.
All of the people who've been identified and are facing charges, potentially facing charges, will they just be back on the street again? Is there a concern there that this will continue in the near future?
You want to go?
I can speak to that. As a result of the 35 people that we identified, so far 23 have been arrested. Only, I believe, 8 of them have been released back into the community, however, under a number of conditions. 12 are still currently incarcerated awaiting bail or awaiting trial. Of all the individuals that are still even currently wanted out on warrants, depending on their histories as well, they may be held again for bail or released with these same conditions, hopefully. All the individuals involved will have the opportunity not to be just released into the general public, but the opportunity to participate depending on their histories and whether or not they are I guess, accepted into the drug treatment court, to get help for their issues as well. So we're not just simply identifying them, charging them, and releasing them back into the community. We're trying to go ahead and also encourage them to seek help for their own issues as well.
And are these areas downtown, are they being monitored more heavily now because of this?
Drug trafficking and the drug trade happens everywhere in this community. So it's not just it's not a downtown issue. It happens everywhere in Calgary. And this operation was really in that downtown core. So it was throughout the downtown core. We have lots of resources downtown as far as beats, and we have mountain bike units, we have covert resources, we have our patrol officers, and they're always down there responding to community concerns. So one of the things that we want is we want people to call us if they see issues down there, if they see that drug trafficking taking place. We need to know about it so that we can come in and work with the drug unit and come in and take care of those issues again.
Of those that were arrested, is there maybe like one or two or a couple who are kind of like the leaders of the whole operation?
No, everybody that was arrested was specifically dealing drugs. There is no, I would say that there is no one leader here. We have a whole bunch of people that are all thinking that they're going to make some money by dealing drugs. And here's the reality. The reality is if you're a drug dealer in this city, you just never know if you're dealing drugs to an undercover police officer. And you never know if you deal drugs to an undercover police officer, if a few days later or a few weeks later or maybe a month later, we're going to come knocking at your door or find you on the street somewhere and we're going to arrest you and charge you.
Was that done in this case, or were undercover police officers out there?
Absolutely.
Interacting with them?
Absolutely.
Is there anything significant about these 7 people on the screen here of the 23?
These individuals are still currently, I guess, wanted on warrants. We haven't come across them, so we're still currently, our beat units are out looking for these individuals. They've just, at this point in time, we haven't seen them in a while. So eventually we will come across them and they will be apprehended and taken before the courts.
And just 2 things, do they all live downtown? Are they all from that area itself? And do some of them know each other? Do they all know each other?
I couldn't possibly comment on that aspect of it.
They do not all live downtown. In fact, for some of them, they really, other than to come down and ply their trade and the violence that's associated with their trade, they really have no association to downtown. As far as do they know each other, I would suspect some do, but I don't know. Can't answer that.
So then why downtown? Why did they congregate there?
Well, drug trafficking goes on everywhere in this city. There's every community in this city has the potential to have people showing up there and selling drugs. Downtown has a lot of volume, a lot of people that come down there. And you know, the other caution I would say is that if you are buying drugs, you also don't know if the police have you under surveillance, if you may get arrested with possession of buying drugs as well. Never mind the fact that if you're buying drugs, that you really do put your safety in jeopardy. What we saw again at the beginning of this year was an escalation in violence, and that's not a coincidence. People think it's not a big deal, it's just a little bit of marijuana, it's just a little bit of this drug or that drug. The reality is that there's violence associated with that.
Can you elaborate on that kind of violence? Like, what do you mean? Like, you know, it's transaction, there's disagreement, there's an assault, or what kind of examples?
Well, frankly, we've seen everything when it comes to drug dealers, from even marijuana dealers that have been murdered. So I've seen that in this city. We've seen that, and again, that's that misperception that people have that what's the big deal. We've also seen people that either because they are trying to get rid of competition or intimidate competition that they're committing violent assaults, whether that be stabbings or beatings. Either way, there is a danger element here.
For all those complaints that came in and all of those concerns that came in to start this investigation, what can you say to those people living there who are concerned? Are they going to notice a difference? Has the community been cleaned up after this?
What we're hearing from the community right now is that they have seen a difference, and I think it's evident by the amount of people that have been held in custody and some of the people that have been released from custody but have very strict conditions to stay out of that particular area. So I think we will see a difference, and what we're hearing from the community is they are seeing a difference now. Our hope is that wherever you live in this city, that you're going to be able to walk to work and walk home without being accosted or having yourself or your loved ones witness drug trafficking.
These people who've been arrested or are still wanted, what representation do they make of the number of street-level drug dealers still out there or still operating in downtown Calgary? Is this just a fraction, or is this a big get for the police? Can you comment on that?
I would say it's certainly just a fraction. This is one operation specific that we dealt with that happened to be in the downtown core. We run a number of operations throughout the year, throughout various areas of the city. So in this particular instance with 36 individuals, I really couldn't say whether or not this is a large area. It's a large one for this particular operation, but not for the city of Calgary.
Can we just reiterate the numbers again, just so
I'm clear on them too. You said there was so many charges but an arrest, so can we just go over that again?
Okay, there is, currently there are 23 people charged as a result of the operation. 12 are still currently, warrants are in effect for them. So that means at this point they haven't been apprehended. So as a result of 35 individuals being identified during the operation, 86 charges were as a result of the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act. The other charges were a result of other criminal code violations or breaches before the courts.
So to follow up that question, if somebody at home hears those numbers, they don't, maybe 86 sounds really big, 36 arrests downtown, is that big? From that person sitting on the couch at home, to clarify maybe, is that something to be worried about? Like, is there a big scene here in Calgary, or is that, I'm just trying to take it from that guy sitting on the couch at home hearing those kind of numbers. It seemed high to me. What would you say to those people at home with those kind of numbers?
I would say with these types of numbers, because of the type of operation that it was and the number of individuals that were included in this operation, if you take a look at a fraction, if every single one of them was to be charged with the same amount of offenses, it would result in maybe 4 to 5 charges each. Okay, some members or some individuals sold to undercover operators on more occasions than others, or might have had other breaches as a result of their arrest. But the numbers are significant. Don't get me wrong. This was a very good operation. I think we are going to see a difference in our downtown core at this current time, and hopefully in the future.
This might be an obvious question, but can you talk about, whether these people were doing it daylight, nighttime, in corners, out in the street?
We conducted the operation in a variety of different hours. We specifically went after, we didn't want there to be a specific time frame in which we conducted our operations. So at times we conducted buys at 9 o'clock in the morning up until 2 o'clock in the morning. We conducted them in open air areas that the general public could easily see, as well as in alleyways and corners or ducked into door wells. So it happens drug dealing happens everywhere. In fact, there's no doubt in my mind that the general public sees drug trafficking activities on a daily basis. They just don't know what to look for.